Hello, everyone. Uh, in many a times when the conversation of Jonathan running for office has come up, I've always argued the fact that look, I don't think Jonathan is eligible to run for office. Although that particular statement is not really being talked about, I'm glad Professor Chidi Odinkalu, has talked about it in this particular article of his. It's just being kept to acting. They say they are dangling returning to presidency before Jonathan. And of course, he's enjoying the dangling and he's feeling, Nigeria is such a country. No matter how badly you do, all you need is for someone to do worse than you, and Nigeria will forget. They will shining their teeth. We're such smart people, but at the same time, we can be so dumb. It's unbelievable. I'm telling you, as a people, nah. And when I said, look, after that whole this thing, there's a law that I know was signed, which was that you cannot be sworn in more than 3 times. I think there has been some constitutional amendment. After that the whole drama, which who was it, man, that even led? Was it that of can't remember now. Is it no, it was not the Yaya Bello case, was it? Can't remember which was it. But I know there was a law that was passed that you cannot be sworn. That if, for example, if you finish the tenure, just like what happened in Ondo, like Ondo State Governor, right? He finished that tenure. After this one, he can't do another tenure because he has been sworn in twice before, and that was why Jonathan was running in 2015. Even though there was a gentlemanly agreement that he had that he was not going to run in 2015, was he had finished the tenure of Yaradua. He now did one tenure, and then he was coming to run again. So they put that law. So all this one that they will say Jonathan would have. I've been saying, but I said, look, I don't. Jonathan can run that thing by the time. Even if he runs and he ends up winning, they will go to court over that thing. It will not be another major issue. But anyway, speculation over the possible return of former President Goodluck Jonathan in the 2027 election has continued to stir debate across Nigeria's political space. While supporters argue that Jonathan remains a stabilizing figure, Nigeria remains a stabilizing figure in the nation's democratic experience, constitutional lawyers have raised questions about his eligibility to contest. Human rights lawyer and former chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, has joined those warning that any attempt by Jonathan to contest would collapse under judicial scrutiny. In an opinion piece, Odinkalu made a case that the former president cannot legally or politically succeed with a 2027 presidential bid. Odinkalu's argument hinges on the 1999 Constitution as amended, which places a limit on the number of times a person can be sworn in as president. Because that's the thing. It's no longer a matter of whether you do 8 years. You can only be sworn in twice. If they sworn you before, even if it's one day you did, you've already done, you'll be sworn in once. You see, Odinkalu's argument hinges on the 1999 Constitution as amended, which places a limit on the number of times a person can be sworn in as president. He drew attention to Section 1373, which directly affects Jonathan's situation. Odinkalu said the ambitions of President Jonathan in 2027 will rest on two different provisions of the 1999 Constitution. Under Section 137, subsection 1A, a person is disqualified for running from Nigeria's president if he has been elected to such office at any two previous elections. This provision was there when President Jonathan ran unsuccessfully for a second term in 2015. At the time, there was a considerable amount of murmuring about his ineligibility to run, having assumed office for the last year following the death of Umaru Yar'Adua in May 2010. Odinkalu noted that having been on the presidential ticket with Yar'Adua in 2007 and again at the top of the ticket in 2011, it was arguable in 2015 that GEG had previously been elected to such office twice and was therefore barred from running again. He said, however, it was beyond improbable that a judge could be found at the time to rely on that argument to preclude a sitting president from running. In 2017, in 2027, however, two things will be different. First, 2 years after GEJ left office in 2017, the fourth alteration to the Constitution number 16 introduced Section 1373, which provides that a person who was sworn in as president to complete the term of which another person was elected as president shall not be elected to such office for more than a single term. This is the part. So, except if they are going to say that, oh, because he did it before the law cannot be used, retrospectively on him. That's the only way escape. But I don't know. I don't know the people that are drumming it into Jonathan's head that he should come and run for office. But anyway, Jonathan will always be Jonathan. This will put Jonathan's eligibility directly in issue. The question will be simply, having inherited the presidency from President Yar'Adua and served the full elected term from 2011 to 2015, is he still eligible to run again in 2027? On that question, the judges will not be apolitical. In litigation, this will be presented as a legal question. In reality, it is a political one, and this is where the second issue arises. Where in 2015, GEJ enjoyed the favors of judicial complacence and the presumption against judicial defection from incumbent, that presumption would count against him in 2027. And where in 2015, no judge could be found to bomb him from the race under cover of judicial ceremony, there will be no end to the number of judges happy to oblige the incumbent in 2027 with precisely that kind of judicial cover for a political hit job. This provision was introduced after Junior's time in office had already begun. However, Odinkalu argued that its effect on his eligibility remains binding. For me, that's also the only part that I kept asking, is that because it was after he had done his own that this thing was said, would that then affect him, or is it people that from after the law was made that it will affect? He was emphatic about the inevitability of a legal blockade, noting that Jonathan will survive judicial scrutiny in 2027 and that his candidacy is liable to judicial veto. At that point of no return, an innocuous-looking legal challenge will materialize, questioning GEJ's eligibility to run under the Constitution. They will sue him, his party, an independent National Electoral Commission, and we ask the court to restrain INEC from recognizing him as a candidate in the election. This suit will slow walk its way to a decision. Then suddenly, around a week before vote, judgment will come down, restraining the party from presenting GEJ as a candidate and restraining INEC from having him on the ballot. This thing, in short, let me even stop here because I'm already having headache. Even if they don't talk to Jonathan, even if this is not here, would Jonathan talk to himself? You've escaped being the worst president Nigeria would have. Buhari came and became worse than you. Tinubu came and became worse than both of you combined. Instead of you to respect the elder, whatever that you are enjoying now, that people are feeling that you are the best thing after jollof rice, because Nigeria like to forget. You want to now come again and put yourself. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.